whatever they give them for the jobs they've done in just helping destroy society and all the organizations before them. Plato mentioned the fashion industry goes hand in glove with it. Drama, the movie industry, big part of it. And of course, as I say, promiscuity has been promoted until people are basket cases when they get older. They can't bond with anyone. They run off and see psychiatrists. They have all these therapy groups. They just can't figure out what's wrong with them. That's the job that's been done on them. But women definitely had one massive job done on them. Men did too. But women definitely. They were told they could run out and have it all. Well, no one can have it all. And of course, in the real world too, you can't just work your way up there and become successful any more than the men can. You try and work your way up. You're brought up if you're chosen to get up there. Otherwise, you end up in a mediocre position for life. Here's monkey see, monkey do again. And this is from the Telegraph. It says, women could overtake men for cocaine use. I don't know if people in the West understand, in America and Canada understand that Britain's a basket case with alcohol now. And have all these groups of women going across the channel for holidays, getting absolutely terribly drunk and behaving terribly. You'll see the photographs in many of the newspapers of them and how they suffer for it eventually. Everyone suffers. But women could overtake men for cocaine use. Young women are now on a par with men for abusing cocaine after a sharp increase in those taking the Class A drug, by Tom Whitehead, Home Affairs editor. 1 in 15 women aged 10 to 25, admit they've taken the drug after the proportion increased by a third in just 3 years. The sharp rise has sparked concerns that young women will soon overtake their male counterparts for cocaine use. It echoes patterns seen with alcohol abuse, where there's been a rise in women binge drinkers and will further fuel evidence of a growing ladette culture. They get absolutely sloshed. They go out in gangs looking for men and one-night stands and so on. Cocaine is seen as more socially acceptable. Now listen to this now. Cocaine is seen as more socially acceptable and glamorous as high-profile celebrities such as Kate Moss, Jodie Kidd, and Amy Winehouse have been exposed for alleged involvement with the drug. See, all that stuff is promotion. Everything you see is promotion for the drug. And Amy Winehouse, remember, came out with that awful song where she says, they tried to put me in rehab, and I said, no, no, no. That's in the song. And her whole bad girl image, you see, is an inducement for young females who are not so wealthy, not so rich, who admire these so-called stars to emulate. Even opera singer Katherine Jenkins has admitted to taking a cocaine a number of times several years ago, but has since spoken out against drugs. Yep, nothing is by accident. I'll be back with more after these messages. Hi folks, I'm Alan Watt. We're cutting through the matrix. Cutting through the matrix. It's an article which shows you how laws get put in the books, basically, and the public start to accept something. As I say, we adapt so quickly to everything, and we don't think very much about anything, to be honest with you. We simply adapt, and we don't ask why, and we definitely don't complain and to the authorities and say, no. We just accept. And this article here is to show you how far something that was introduced not long ago is acceptable and how it's been used for different things now. And this is from an article from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. It starts off with a loaded gun going to school by mistake, actually. A different article altogether. However, when you scroll down the story, and I'll put the link up too, it says, at Penn Hills High School this morning, Chief Burton said, a student was walking up and down a hallway using a cell phone. School policy permits students to have cell phones but not to use them during school except in emergencies, Chief Burton said. A Penn Hills police officer told him to put the phone away and go to class. The kid refused to listen, Chief Burton said. The officer took him by the arm and said, you have to go to the office. The student resisted. Now, this is their side of it. Don't know yet. Pushed the officer. They always have to say that for a reason, for charges. The officer, defending himself, right, from this young student, took out his stun gun and did a drive stun. Chief Burton said a drive stun involves pushing the taser against a portion of the body and squeezing the trigger, thus immobilizing a portion of the body, such as the leg, or the whole body, obviously. He said this affects about a 2 or 3 inch area. While on the floor, the student was still resisting, he's probably writhing all over the place, and was placed in handcuffs, Chief Burton said. The student complained of a headache and dizziness and was taken to Forbes Regional Hospital. Now, since when did they start giving electric shock? I call it electrocution. See, let's start calling it what it is here. Understand, they want us to use the terms taser, etc., and a drive stun and all this nonsense. What you're seeing are people being electrocuted. It doesn't sound quite so nice, does it? But it's more accurate. But since when did they start electrocuting students at school who disobey a command? See, now it's being used. Now it's being used for compliance. It was supposed to be drawn and used if the officer was in fear of his life. Now it's simply being used, oh, the guy's giving me some cheek. Take this, sonny boy. Zap. Electrocution. And the public again chew the grass, chew the cud, watch TV, and adapt, and adapt, and adapt, until they'll see people getting zapped in the street for goodness knows what reason, if there's any reason at all, and they'll think it's all quite normal. Maybe you'll get zapped when you're standing in line for your groceries and you haven't brought your own recycled plastic bag with you. And they'll think that's normal too. Quite something. Last year I mentioned an article from Italy being under the EU, and they set a precedent where they banned all home schooling. And at least the Prime Minister told the truth. He says, we can't have any child not in the system being given the same indoctrination as all the rest. That's the reason for trying to ban it. And we know that Hillary made that, when she was running a while ago, she made that a big thing too. She said that she would ban homeschooling. In the socialist Fabian agenda, it's essential that no child can come up with an alternate way of looking at things or a different indoctrination or education. So here they're doing it in Britain now. And it's from theguardian.co.uk. Get tough on home tuition to weed out abuse, says review. Now the very title is meant to give you the be-all and end-all, the start and the end, the alpha and the omega. Get tough on home tuition to weed out abuse. So your conclusion is given to you right away, says review. Opponents question independence of review and accuse author of advocating extraordinary invasion of the family. What's left to invade? So the government will be advised to crack down on home education to ensure it is not being used as a cover for child abuse or for parents to avoid, well, look what they're doing to our children in school. They're electrocuting them. Like that last article, I guess that's all right. Oh, what a world, eh? As a cover for child abuse or for parents to avoid educating their children at all, an independent review that has anger